What's up, superhumans? BT here. Man, the other day I posted the Apple Vision Pro video and I got a ton of questions on it. And so in today's video, we're going to be looking at all those questions and I'm going to be answering them. It's kind of fun. I've got this on because right next to me, as you can see, I've got all of my questions right here that I need to answer. And then I'm kind of beta testing this app that puts me in a studio, so you can see what the all new personas look like. This is like the third version of personas. It looks pretty good. And this app, if you do have an Apple Vision Pro, it's in test flight. It's called Persona Studio, so check it out. There isn't going to be a lot of fluff with this video, so let's dive right in. First question, how's it like using Final Cut Pro? Man, that is, I edit in Final Cut Pro. It's a massive chunk of what I do day in and day out for YouTube is editing on Final Cut Pro. That's how I make all of the videos. And having it be the native app that works with Vision OS is pretty special. If you didn't know, you can connect to your monitor, to your MacBook Pro using Vision OS, and it turns it into a giant screen. Let's see if we can connect with it. Even though it's closed, I finally got it to work. It used to be that you had to have your laptop open for it to connect, but let's hop into Command Center and see if we can pull it up because the computer is on. Let's see, Mac Virtual Display, will it come up? No, it will not come up. So we're not gonna worry about it. Using Final Cut Pro is actually great when you connect to it. Having a mouse, a Bluetooth mouse, and a keyboard makes it so easy. And being able to make that screen huge is really nice. But it's also really nice to like get it really small and very like detailed and clear. But with that last video, I would say actually closer to like 65%, I edited in Final Cut Pro. So you can totally do it. I don't know, at some point my eyes go, hey man, why don't you use your regular monitor? Because it's just a little easier on your eyes. But it's totally doable and way more enjoyable than I thought it would be. Next question, would you say it can make a big difference for productivity or is it just more stimulating? All right, so I've got this Studio app up and I needed to see, because like the lens, let me grab this, right? There's the lens. So I kind of have to put it in such a way where if I stare at my mouth, then I'm looking right down the tube of the lens, and that gives you an accurate look of my eyes, but that's also where I need to be looking while I'm filming. And then over here, I have all the questions. I don't need an iPad. I don't need a phone with that. So in some ways, yes, this could be seriously productive. This is gonna be the future. Number 3, how's using Lightroom? Does it feel good or weird? Editing in Lightroom is so much fun. Check this out. We look up, we get our Command Center, pull down, we'll go to our apps, and let's see, compatible apps. Lightroom's right there. We get this massive Lightroom panel. So I did this outside and I made this panel the size of my driveway essentially, and it was a lot of fun editing with it. But watch this. So how this works is it's tracking my eyeballs and whatever I look at, and then if I pinch, it will open that up. So I'm looking at light, I want to control exposure. I mean, that is really easy. I want more contrast, color. We can take the saturation down. Maybe we can even make it black and white. It's just that easy. It's a lot of fun. And then when you're done, you're like, oh, I want to see this thing huge. Let's scoot it back and place it up here. Actually, why don't we take it and we'll throw it up on this wall like it's a gallery. And now we've got our Lightroom window right there. Close it out. Boop. Just that easy. It's actually way more fun than you would think it would be and way more effective. Number 4, are they worth it? This is something that I got multiple times and I accidentally listed it twice, but are they worth it? I mean, that's the biggest question I'm being asked right now. And this is a tougher question to answer. And I think if you're one of 4 different types of people, it could be worth it for you. 1, do you have a crazy amount of expendable income? Number 2, Are you somebody like me where you do reviews and you can make money from it by buying something, reviewing it, doing content on it, maybe getting sponsors? If you are, then this could be worth it. Number 3, and this is one that I do not see anybody talking about, but it could be a total life changer for that demographic. Are you somebody with limited mobility? This tracks your eyes. That's what's the cursor. There's no controller to cursor. And then it uses your hands to pick up on what you're trying to select. For somebody with limited mobility in their arms, and there's even more accessibility customization within the settings. I haven't played around with them too much, but holy crap, like this really could change somebody's life. And then I think number 4 is, are you a developer? This honestly feels, the Apple Vision Pro kind of feels like a really expensive dev kit. I would say if you're not one of those 4 people, this is probably not the product for you. It's so cool that Apple is kind of making this mainstream. They didn't invent this technology by any means, but they're making it cool. I would say for so many of you out there, get a Meta Quest 3. It's $500, a ninth of what this one cost, and you can do about 90% of what this can do on it. Is it going to be more distracting than a phone? Could you drive a car with it? I don't find it is more distracting than a phone at all. I would say it is far less distracting. It is, you have to have intent to use this. It's not like just pull it out of your pocket, glance at it for a second, put it back. It requires more effort than that. And so I don't want to throw this thing on to look at Instagram. And Instagram isn't even on this. You can't even look at Instagram. I could go through Safari to look at Instagram, but again, there's just no quick reward. Could you drive a car with it? Please don't. You could. The pass-through, right? Because I am not seeing reality. Like if you're looking at my hands right now, you can see that those are actually being superimposed against a background that's being pulled in by cameras. So you could, there's so little latency that you could, but please don't be the jackass that drives a car with this. Was I kicked out of the house after I purchased it? Believe it or not, no. My wife's pretty cool. She understands what I do for a living. But then she tried it on and did the highlining, the immersive event, the highlighting, and she started crying.
I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I thought you'd love this.
No. No. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like I think thinks it's way cooler now than she did. Does it make you or Melissa sick post-concussion? Both of us have had concussions, have had multiple concussions, and things like this can aggravate the concussion. It can make things worse. Mine specifically, because I got kneed in the face, in the eyeball, and it damaged my eye. And you have a bunch of some muscles, I think there's 9, that surround the eye and actually help your eye to focus, especially from like close up to far away. That's why you do things like Brock string and Marsden balls. And so when you damage your eye, if your eye gets strained and it has to work really hard, well, then it's making the brain work really hard. And that's what can make those concussion symptoms a lot worse. This does in some ways, because remember, I have to look at something to engage it. And that's not how our brain works. Like if you ever look at something and you've got a controller and you got a mouse or whatever, you'll bring your mouse over to it, and then as you're about to click, you start looking away because you know relatively where it is. You can't do that on this. You have to be you have to have a lot more intent and stare directly at that thing. You got to like really stare, and then you can click. And if you look away just for a second, you might click something else. So it strains the eyes a little bit harder. I have not had... That's not true. I've had a few concussion symptoms, but they're different than what I normally experience. She didn't use it long enough to experience anything like that. And I don't think she would, just as like a preventative measure. Is it similar to a laptop with eye strain? So we just talked about this. I think laptops have virtually no strain compared to this. Again, this makes your eyes work way harder than it can. I find myself kind of always like this, because I don't feel like I can let my eyeballs relax for a second in this thing. It's hard to zone out in this, and it's much easier to do on a laptop. Doesn't make you feel claustrophobic. No. Is it too heavy on your face? I think there's 2 reasons why people say this is uncomfortable. One, this is probably the biggest reason, is that so many people just neglect training their neck. Now this is front heavy. This band, this solo knit band, I prefer this one. I think it's way more comfortable. It pulls it into your head more. So where most people say it's uncomfortable is actually on their face. But if you do want to take the weight off, they provide you with another band when you buy this, and it goes over your head and it kind of suspends this a little bit better. So give it a shot. Is it too heavy on my face? Nope. Have you seen any cool fitness apps yet? This is hilarious because I was actually looking today. I was going to make what are my top fitness apps for the Apple Vision Pro, and I hopped into the App Store for the Vision OS specific apps, and there were 7. There were 7 apps, and 5 of them were meditation. Now there is one good app, and I downloaded it because I have it for my iPhone as well. And let's see, bam, Gymaholic. I'll pull it up. It's Gymaholic, but now it's in like 3D. I would say don't do fitness in this. If you're going to use VR as a means to train and have fun and play games that make you sweat, just get a Meta Quest 3 or an Oculus Quest 2. Spend even half as much. This is just not going to be that thing. The games that they have for this thing are pretty lame because it's Apple Arcade. How many hours a day do you see yourself wearing this? I've been averaging anywhere from like 3 to 6. Pretty easy. I love that you can just kind of take this wherever you go, lay down, throw a screen up on the ceiling, and that's awesome. When I'm editing, I feel like I can get 2 or 3 hours out of an edit and then go, okay, I just need to take a little bit of a break. Can you play VR games? Like I said, yeah, you can. I have not seen any that are even remotely enjoyable, though. This is not meant for gaming. If you want something that's going to be awesome for gaming, get a Meta Quest 3. It destroys this thing. Does it give you migraines? Nope. I'm not a migraine person anyway. And so that would be kind of hard for me to say whether or not it's going to do that for you. But I've heard many people say this does not give you the eye strain normal VR would for whatever reason that is. How do my YouTube videos look on them? Tyler, let's see. There's Tyler. We're going to watch Tyler's cinematography reel. Tyler, I gotta say, it looks very good. At any point, have you taken it off and been surprised to see that all of the overlays are gone? Yes. So there's a couple of funny side effects that have happened. One, I'll walk into a room and be like, where are my panels? And then I go, dummy, you're not wearing it. 2, I was watching TV the other day and literally tried to pinch it. I tried to tap it close. I did it like 6 times and then I went, God, you're not in it. So, yeah, I've had that side effect. What's your favorite bug? Joey asks. There are a lot of bugs right now. There's some really bad ones. Low light, that might not be a bug. That might just be a limitation, but that's probably a bad one. But my favorite bug by far is when you're FaceTiming with other people that have Vision, Apple Vision Pros, so they can use personas. And the reason I say this, like, I hate FaceTiming. But with the Apple Vision Pro and the personas, like, it's very interactive. It's real time like a FaceTime, but it's still anonymous. Like, I could be naked pooping on a toilet and they're not going to know, right? So it just makes things a little bit easier. However, your first thought is to always make things big. But if you shrink one of those FaceTime panels down, they're like 6 inches by 6 inches, and you shrink them and bring them in really close, it distorts the heck out of their facial features, and it makes them look like weird elves or tiny creatures. They have super long, sharp noses, and that's definitely my favorite bug. It makes people you're talking to look hilarious if you shrink their persona window. What head neck workouts do you recommend to prepare for it? Yeah, flexion and extension. Just stick your chin out, pull it back. Stick your chin out, pull it back. So even though that was a skit and it was a joke, that's real. Definitely train your neck. When editing, connecting to your Mac, is it a smooth experience? Does it lag at all? Because of the bugs, like this isn't a perfect experience. I would say overall, it's extremely smooth. Smoother than I thought it would be, honestly. But there are points when you do it long enough that performance starts to lag. And I don't know if this is a memory leak or whatever. I hope it's something they fix in the future. But like I said, you could probably get like 80 or 90% of the way through an edit. That video you watched me do, I mean, there were times where I had like 3 different streams of Red Komodo 6K footage up with 4 different audio tracks, plus transitions, grain, like all sorts of stuff, and I handled it no problem. The only reason I decided to edit on a monitor is because I wanted to like have more control, all right? Compare it to a Meta Quest 3. Meta Quest 3, $500, it will do 90% of what this does. That's about the best comparison I could give you. This is way more seamless when it comes to integrating within the other devices in the Mac/Apple ecosystem. And even though they don't have iPhone and iPad right now, they will, and that will be friggin' sweet. This doesn't game. Don't get it for gaming. This isn't great for fitness. Don't get it for fitness. There are some things that the Meta Quest 3 does much better. They have like a Persona-like thing that's way better than this. But that's it. Like I said, this is a really expensive dev kit. Do you want to buy this and develop apps? Do you have a lack of mobility in your arms? Do you have a shit ton of money and you just don't care? Are you a influencer or a YouTuber? Those are the 4 types of people I would say it might be worth it to you. Is it possible for other people to use your Apple Vision Pro? Absolutely. Is it easy? Not really. It's not convenient. It's easy. It's just time consuming and tedious. Remember that this thing has to track your eyes and actually uses like a very you-specific biometric profile to store all that. I hope at some point they have users to make this easier. Like if I wanted to share it with my wife, I have to enter guest mode and then I hand it to her and then she has to train it to follow her eyes and how she taps to make it super accurate. I showed a video of her watching the highlighting and it was like the highlight of this whole experience, watching how extremely realistic she thought it was. And that was me just taking it off and giving it to her. But as she tried to navigate the menu and tap, it was struggling. So you can share it. You totally can share it with other people. You can make it really easy on them by having them do guest mode, but they really need like separate users for this thing. All right, well, that's it. Everybody, thank you so much for all of the great questions. They were awesome. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you didn't mind me sharing this new persona in the studio. I've gotten some questions about the studio, not questions for this. Studio is almost done. This, I'm not a builder. I don't build things. It's taken me an extremely long time, but it's almost done. When it is, I'm gonna give you a huge studio tour, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you later. Peace.